So right now, Sadie is going to introduce who our guest is.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Thank you guys for tuning in to WSWT Internet Radio. I'm so excited to be in the building on today, and also just to wake up this morning. God is so good. It's such a blessing just to have another day, just to see everybody. So I want to give thanks and praise to God, our Creator, firstly, for waking us up. So, yes. So I have a special guest in the building on today, y'all. Oh my God. This man, when I first saw him, firstly, he was just fashion all the way up and down. I can't even say this down, just up and down.
Okay.
He got the matching head. You dig what I'm saying? He got the jacket. I'm like, okay, he came up in here like Black Power, thousands of people.
Yeah, well, the fashion, well, as I said, compliments my queen. She made it for me.
It's love.
She be hooking a brother up.
I gotta make me something that's sharp. I promise you,
Okay.
sharp. So y'all, this is, oh my God, I want to introduce you guys to one and only, the one and only Brother Blank.
That's right.
Brother Blank. Yay! We got Mr. Thomas in the background, but he don't want to show his face, y'all. So tell us, how did you come up with that name, Brother Blank?
Well, it's a name that my community adorned on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a name my community adorned on me, and so brother is just basically brother doing some good in the neighborhood, not brother as in Reverend Deacon brother. So I don't want anybody to get confused. I'm trying to represent somebody's church, but brother just came from the work that I do within the community, and Blanks is actually my last name. But I use it kind of like Malcolm use X.
Wow, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so tell us like what all the stuff you got going on, because I got your book. I know you're an author as well.
I'm an author as well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the book, the Star Spangled Banner, and so I'm a spoken word artist. I'm also a columnist. You can get some of my articles in the Chicago Tribune. If you go to my pen and public name, Brother Blanks, that's Brotha Blanks. And as you asked me earlier, you asked me was I'm an activist, and I said no. I'm an abolitionist and founder of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. And in other words, what that means is we don't just actively speak out on the issues, but we also do the work to try to liberate people from the conditions that's been imposed on us.
Wow.
So that's the work that we do. And so for me, this is quite a few years of being cocaine clean, crack and heroin free from becoming one of my own best customers. So now I try to allow my life to be a spotlight around some of those pitfalls and traps that I fell in, and hopefully some of our young people can walk around it. And that's the substance and what's in that book and what the book is about, and the work that I do.
Wow, that's powerful. Because just by looking at the title, the Star Spangled Banner.
I was just looking at that, and I'm thinking, from a distance, I was like, okay, the Star Spangled Banner. I'm like, no, this can't be it. So
no,
the Star. Like, wow, that's a very interesting title.
Which is the same as the shirt, the T-shirt. So this is the promo concept. So I tell you what I do. I share with you
what's in this book?
The feature and the title piece that's in the book, which is titled The Star Spangled Banner, right? And then, you got the song and everything. We hear that later. So, they always like for us to stand up and sing the song, the Star Spangled Banner, right? Mm-hmm. So I pose a question back, and I ask a few important questions as it relates to some of the things that the trials and tribulations that we've been through and still go through, which says, oh, say, can you see our neighborhoods in misery, and how unproudly we stare at the crack pipes' red glare? Because of our hoods, you have made a new plantation through the planting of guns and crack rocks, preconditioned as your victims of history. Now we slave to this new trade, while our slave mentality serves as shackles and locks. So we have to look at what part we play here too. And over our dead bodies with yellow tape, you keep walking as our blood overruns the white chalk. And the crack pipes red glare, and as the crack and gas smoke fills the air, it gives proof through the night that much of this government just really don't care. Wow. So how can that scarred spangled banner yet wave over this land of some that's free, yet still a home that cultivate slaves?
Wow, that was so powerful.
Wow. Yes, that was.
What is corporate slave? Go ahead.
Since we on this subject, I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
Now, I'm a believer of what I believe in.
Okay.
But it's like when it comes to certain things, and I believe in being honest, and I believe in being real. When I do radio,
that's the only way to be.
That's the only way to be. Some people be afraid to say certain things.
No, you gotta do you.
You got to.
Yeah.
So my thing is, okay, as time would like, I think it all started maybe like 6 years ago.
Okay.
I was asleep. I was asleep. I'm talking about conscious. I was just so asleep. Like, it's like I saw things, but I was like, oh, whatever, had that whatever type mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But as I began to get older, I started looking at things for what it really was. Now I look at our skin color,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the black. I'm just gonna say the black community right now because that's what they label us as, the black community.
Right.
But we're really not a black community. We are the brown community.
Mm-hmm.
They look at us and they
elaborate on that.
Okay, when I say black community, our skin color, this is black.
Mm-hmm.
That's black.
This is black.
This is black.
Okay.
We're not this color. When you define black, you define dirty. You define, but basically blackballing ourselves.
Well, it depends. It depends on who's writing and giving you that concept of black. So what we have to look at is the fact that if someone tell you something and say, well, black is dirty, black is ugly, or it's nasty.
That's how they look at us.
Well, that's how they look at us, but we are a self-defining people. Kuji Chaga self-determination. We don't let others define us or our color. See, what we have to understand, black is not just a color. Black is the origin of color from which everything flowing, from where everything come from. I take my blackness and I connect it with the origin of the universe. Simply meaning I just don't confine myself to being related to just a geographical location. Mm-hmm. That means blackness, when we look at that, you ever heard the term as above, so below? Mm-hmm. That same beautiful blackness that you see out there in the universe, that everything descended and transcended from. Now they say the sun give everything its color. That's why when we look at ourselves, whether it be the green grass or whatever the case may be, we get a lot of our coloring from the sun. So when we look at black now, we look at brown. You say brown,
we're
right?
Brown.
We're brown here in America, where we have been, where that influence has come from slavery and things of that different. But now if you go over to the motherland, you'll see some brothers and sisters over there that is actually darker and blacker than that very shirt you got on. And I'm sure you've seen some.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you've seen some models.
Yeah.
Some beautiful black models.
Beautiful with pretty black.
Yeah.
Beautiful hair. Yes,
yeah.
I have.
So, but go ahead. So
now,
finish your thought.
My thing is, I truly believe, because like when I look at your face structure, I just don't believe that all of us come from Africa. I believe we was already here.
There's a book called "They Came Before Columbus," so that is a fact.
Right.
That many of us. I mean, you have to look at us as a people. We've been here the world over. There's not a generation, or an ethnicity of people who did not come from us. And when black is dominant.
Right.
White is recessive. You can get white from black, but you can't get black from white.
Oh no.
Okay? So when we look at that particular term, black, we are the key carbon people. We are not the copies. Everything come from us. That's why I have no problem with utilizing and saying the term black, because as I said, black is not a color. It's the origin from where everything comes from. And that is the first people. We are the first people. Absolutely no doubt about it. And if we are the first people, let me rephrase that. Considering we are the first people, then that means every other color and origin of people had to come from what I consider, that's just my opinion, as black people. Whether they are brown skinned. Now, usually when we equate the term brown, excuse me, usually when we say the term brown, that usually relates to our Latino brothers and sisters. They consider themselves as brown. Right. But they come from us. Right. But we are that original key carbon people. You look at a typewriter back in the old day, back in the day they had a typewriter that had the carbon ribbon in it, right? What color was the carbon?
It was like a brown.
No.
It sounded like a penny.
No. That carbon ribbon inside of that typewriter, that bam, you hit the letter.
Black.
It was black.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the card like the color of a penny.
No, Carbon.
Oh,
Maybe that was
Carbon.
my southern dialect that came through.
Okay.
Could you hear it?
No.
Yeah. Well, that's a part of where
No,
I'm
you
from.
sound like you from Chicago.
Well, you know what? I was actually born in Cook County Hospital, but
Okay.
I hail from the humble beginnings of a town called Laurel, Mississippi.
Okay.
That's where I grew up at. And, you know, a lot of the things and a lot of the work that I do now, I like to think the very best of me come from from the roots of where I grew up at and being family and community oriented.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So I know, like, I feel your energy. I feel your strength. Like, you don't look like you ever was on drugs. Like, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like your oil, like everything, your aura about you just looks so clean and so fresh. Man, that's a blessing.
Yeah,
to
it is.
you know to
When
to,
you-
to be. Go ahead.
No, when you find yourself, and and it's on the last page in that book now, on the front of the book is the Star Spangled Banner, right, like the shirt, but it talks about the scars and the darkness that we've been through. But you don't have to look like, as you just said, we don't have to look like what we've been through.
That's true.
When we find ourselves and we learn to look within on that energy and that power and that source that's within, that is what that's when we find that radiates out. We feel that energy first as individuals, and if we really strong enough, we can radiate that energy around us to create that aura that allow people to feel our presence without even opening our mouth.
Wow. Wow. So, like, what would you tell, like, the kids of today? Like, there's so many kids, that's out here, especially you hear so much in Chicago. Like, what would you tell the kids of today with all the different crimes going on and the death that's going on? And, like, what would you tell them?
I would tell, no, not what I would tell them, it's what I do tell them, because that's some of the work that I do. Some of the young people I work with, when they come in, is it Ralph?
Yes.
Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph, some of the people that come into my establishment, and I was telling you Black Abolition Movement for the Mind, I always instruct them based on my own personal experience as to what I had to overcome, right? And I figure if it worked for me, hopefully it'll work for them too. So I challenge each and every young man who are getting caught up in the ways of the world, the streets, and the things that are imposed on us that pull us away from and out of ourselves and out of our true nature. My instructions and what I'm right now, right now what we're promoting in our organization and in that book, it says, I tell them, look within to win. For everything that is imposed on us, whether it be drugs, whether it be gun violence, the things in the world, we have to get out of the world, because that's what the world is designed to do, is to pull us away from ourselves. This is where we lose ourselves, and then we want to be everything we see on TV or everything that somebody else is driving. Therefore, we never even live up to our true nature, because we never take the time to really look within ourselves and to find out each and every person is their own individual standard. I shouldn't have to look over there to try to be like him or be like her. I'm my best of self when I look within myself and be strong enough to live in that. So I tell each and every one of them, challenge them, look within the wind, because you already have the answers.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. That's powerful.
It is very powerful.
Wow. So, I mean, why do you think the crime rate, it seemed like to me, like, since this pandemic, it's like everybody just, like, everything just out of order, like chaos everywhere. Why do you think this is, all this stuff is going on? Do you think it's lack of parents or parenting?
It's a little bit of both. It's always been there, but when people are sheltered and have to be confined within their home, they're restricted to movement, they can't really move around, it's more concentrated. You know what I'm saying? We can see more of the reality of what's there as opposed of the picture they try to paint us, or this false imagery and different things that we see. So that's when we really have to face ourselves. And sometimes when we're in the home and we so used to being out in the world, and we think the things we see in our jobs are who we are, the jobs or our car and different things, we think these are the things that we really are. But when we really have to face and we are confined to our home, just like I said before, you have to look within the wind. Some of us are just for the very first time with this pandemic getting it is really, really confronted with really coming face to face with who we are.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like what they see. And but to answer your question, that creates chaos when we look also at the fact being in an environment, particularly in our communities, where it is being imposed or infested with drugs and crimes and things of that nature.
Yeah.
We can look at it's always easy to look at white folks. Yeah, they do their part. But the violence that we see that is perpetuated throughout our community, it forces us to look to say, what part are we playing? How do we make it right?
Right.
I had to face myself, being out here in the streets, as I said. The karma was I ended up becoming my own best customer, but that was the divine consequences.
And that's powerful that you
What?
said that you became your own customer, because a lot of people get caught up in today. They become their own customer.
Yeah.
Like
Nothing
I said,
exceed like excess when you got it within you and when you have access to it. But go ahead.
I like they said, never get high off your own supply.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And not only that, some of the very false principles and concepts that I had set for myself that I would never slang out of my house, and those so-called morals and principles that you break, you ultimately you become the victim of your own circumstances that you set for yourself. So we have to look at what role are we playing in the demise of our community and our people. And number two, this would be number one. When I'm telling people to challenge, and I'm challenging people to look within the wind, when we look at the things that are going on in this country, not only challenging us as individuals, but I challenge the Star Spangled Banner, challenge America, said instead of blaming Russia and all these other different countries, it's time for you, America, to look within and see what have you done to your own people.
I agree.
So America, this book, the Star Spangled Banner, has now, a lot of people would misconstrue this as the American flag.
Right.
Absolutely not. Betsy Ross and the American government would never project such instruments of truth, torture, and brutality on the American flag. So as you notice on the front of the book, you notice now the flag is usually anchored down by a pole standing upright. Their flag is as though the morals and the principles this country was founded on was morally upright and just towards God. But for us, as you see, this one is my Star Spangled Banner, which tell you the scars we've been through, is anchored down by a folded whip, which meaning those morals and those so-called morals and principles for us took a turn for the worse. And where did we find ourselves? Ultimately, in shackles and chain, and as you see, the noose at the end of the rope.
Yeah, I see that.
Which also talks about the high-tech lynchings that we still have in the judicial system.
Yeah, everything's still the same.
Yeah.
You know what? Now, as I'm scanning through your book, I see right here said a struggle and a strife in Mississippi. Now, what's that about?
As I said.
But tell us about how is your living in Mississippi? Because your cover is the Star Spangled, because it let me know you got a lot of scars that you got going on, that you had going on in your life.
Yeah.
So, and I see that Mississippi was one of your scars as well.
Well, some of the things that I would say, there's a duality and there's a good and bad in everything in nature, to including people.
Right.
Mississippi, yeah, there was some scars. But I often tell people, but that place that I call Laurel, Mississippi, let me use this if I say, you're familiar with track, right? Okay, high hurdles. I use this analogy a lot. Now, if you look at the high hurdle in the middle of the track, if you focus on it, some people might look at it, wow. If you focus on it, you think it's put there to trip you up and make you fall when you run. Or you could look at it and say, wow, that hurdle is put there to make me do what? Run faster so I can jump higher and overcome.
Yeah.
So those challenges that I went through in Mississippi, it made me the man who I am. That's some of the challenges and the things that I've seen my people go through. I never forgot that. And I said, when I got my weight up and got my mind right, wherever I was at, I would fight that fight.
How do you feel about Emmett Till? Because he was from Mississippi. I mean, well, now he went to Mississippi.
Chicago.
But he's from Chicago, went to Mississippi.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Did you look at the movie, the documentary?
I saw the movie. I thought the irony in that was that I think it was like 1957 is when that happened in Emmett Till.
It was sometime in the 50s.
Yeah. So when I look at the Emmett Till story, and in so many ways I can identify with it, because as I said, I was born in Cook County Hospital. But as an infant, when everybody else was leaving Mississippi in the early 60s, and that my mother was taking me in the heat of battle.
Wow.
So during that time is where I was going down when I was moving down there. But to answer your question, when we look at Emmett Till's story, it is a reflection of many of what we all go through in one way or another.
And it's something you still have people still going through the same things, like nothing changed. Nothing.
Well, change, one thing that's inevitable, one thing that's constant is change.
But will it ever happen? Will change ever come to our community?
If we're looking for a broad and sweeping change and something that tangible we can always see, real change is not always something broad and sweeping. Sometimes real change comes gradually. And too often we look for instant change and gratification.
But look how long we've been waiting,
We shouldn't be waiting.
Well, we shouldn't. We like what, 200, they said we 250 years behind.
Yeah. But you know what? You said, look how long we've been waiting, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be waiting. I think we all are challenged. With the idea of what can we do to make a contribution, make it better. So somebody told me that one time. They said, how long are we going to be waiting? What you mean wait? The question becomes, what are you going to do to help escalate? What you going to do to help bring that change in?
But you know what? It's like looking
Because
at our communities now. It's like don't nobody want to really come together and make change.
You're right.
Huh?
Don't nobody want to come together to make change. You might have a handful of people that may want to, do some things.
If that many.
Yeah, it's like the world's so caught up, like you said, they caught up into
the world.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah, it's so caught up into the world.
It's easy for people when they're caught up into the world to not want to help be a part of the change. And as you said, wait for change. None of us should be waiting. But there are, right now I would say I'm very hopeful for our community. I see change. And right now, look at young people and the young kids that are born. Kids are coming into the world now. They coming in quick. You see how they handling technology, and
babies.
Yeah. So that is the change. When I look at the new generations coming in and they God-given talents and ability, sometimes change comes from the root. It comes from the kids. So change starts within our homes. And what I mean by that is I ended up being a full-time single dad, raising my 2 daughters as a full-time single dad. Change began there when we as men shoulder our responsibility.
How was your childhood growing up, as a kid?
My childhood, growing up as a kid, it was actually coming up in the South. We was poor, but I couldn't tell.
Right.
Because I had a family structure there that wouldn't allow me to think poverty.
Right.
I mean, even in Mississippi.
Right.
So my childhood was good because even though in the household I seen a lot of abuse that was going on and everything, but what I did see, that regardless of what was going on, these families, they stayed together.
Yes.
They made it work through the trials and tribulation. You just didn't see the high rate of divorce and single mother households.
So what do you think that comes from? Because I was looking at a movie I think Donna Carroll, when she made that movie, she had like a whole bunch of kids in the house.
Diane Carroll?
Yeah, Diane Carroll.
That was one with, I
forgot the name of the movie.
Yeah.
She had like a whole bunch of kids at home. And it showed how they was on public aid. And
what was the name? Man, I'm trying to think of what's the name of the movie.
Claudine. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the name of the movie. Now, is that how it all started with the pushing the males out the homes? Because they were saying like
when we look at black women couldn't be on welfare and public aid and have a man living in the house. So it had its contributions, because even if you look at Claudine, as much and as when you examine the story of Claudine, and James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
So when
yeah,
James Earl
yeah.
Jones and so was playing the dad, was playing the male role.
Right.
But even when you look at the role of Claudine now, you look this brother working hard. He's got a job and he's trying to do the right thing and be there for this woman. But even though as good of a guy that he was, he still couldn't be in the house. They telling her, you can't have this man in the house if you on welfare.
So do you think that's what all the trends started? By pushing the black males at the homes.
I won't say all the trends, but it definitely had its impact.
Yeah.
It had its impact, and we can see that today.
Yeah. Most definitely. Yep. Wow. So we waiting for change, but we need people like you. And even if
we need people like you too.
Yeah, like me too.
All of us. We all have our role to play. Whether we use that role to make a change with our podcast and having enlightening conversations like we're doing now. You'd be surprised what kind of change this might implement, who might be listening, that we might be inspiring here.
Yeah.
So we all have a role to play in that change, and nobody should be sitting around waiting. We need to use our talents, we use our arts, and everything we do has it adds a gradual of saying to the change.
And and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about let's build up our communities. Let's start, because I remember I was growing up in the 80s. We had like black grocery stores, we did. Because I grew up on the west side of Chicago. You look like you did too.
I was born on the west side in Cook County Hospital. And so my wife was one. So you familiar with? So then, are you familiar with LeClaire Courts?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
You familiar with LeClaire Courts? That's where my wife is from.
Yeah, I have family that lives in LeClaire Courts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was born on the west side, but like I said, as Malcolm said, just because of a cat is born in the oven, don't make it a biscuit, right? So even though I was born in Chicago, I hail from Mississippi because most of my roots in the time that I came up in my childhood was in the South. I only came here with I went my last year of high school here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so that's where I really started, getting into some things, in the streets and stuff like that. So
that's how it was. It was so easily to be manipulated as a young boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all, I feel really bad for the black males because y'all go through the worst.
Yeah.
But it's like growing up, I remember seeing like black grocery stores. We had like the Buddy Bears was on by Black Family. You had restaurants. I mean, everything was just surrounded. It's like nowadays we have nothing. I don't even really hear about black communities having like grocery stores no more.
Yeah.
So you hear like, more the Europeans have more of the grocery stores or the Arabs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you don't hear us having anything. We need our own beauty supply stores. We need our own everything. We need to learn how to farm again, how to plant stuff and grow our own crops. That's the type of stuff I be on. Like,
so let me ask you this then. Have you started a garden yet?
No, I'm trying. I'm trying. No, I would have got some seeds.
So look. So you got the seeds already.
I got the seeds.
So this year, don't you let this year pass without planting your garden, even if you just do one row.
Right.
The best thing to do is when you aspire to do something, at least start.
Yeah.
If you just start with one collard green or one tomato, you make that start.
Yeah.
And then those plants in the ground would inspire you to want to plant more when you're able to see the fruits of that labor.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I just really want to see us grow. And it's like when you came in, I just felt such a inspiration coming from you. Like, I don't feel like you a negative person. Like, you all about positive. Let's grow as a people. But like you said, it just don't take you. It takes all of us as a community to help that grow into a beautiful plant. Because if we don't, we're gonna continue to keep,
Well, I try to accentuate the good side of me. But the duality of man, we have good and bad in us. You know what I'm saying? But it's the one that we focus on cultivating and more to present before the world. And so I try to bring my best energy whenever I come around people, do interviews and things like that, because I feel that's my goal. That's my purpose in life, is to inspire, uplift, enlighten, liberate. As for starting business in the community, that's what the organization is that I started, Black Abolition Movement for the Mind.
Now, where is this at?
This is on the south side of Are you familiar with Waukegan?
Yeah.
Okay, this is on the south side of Waukegan in the First
Okay.
Ward.
Okay.
And so I do the work there, and then I work with some people. I have family in Chicago, so we're looking at trying to branch it out now to the Chicago area. I've done work, even though we have the headquarters there. This work is for as violence prevention and awareness, or I would say peace and prevention. I like to change the language. When we change the language, then we change the demographics. You know, a lot of times we have stop the violence movement. Well, if you want to stop the violence, let's begin with changing the lane and say changing the language and say peace and prevention.
Now, do you believe in the marches? Do you think the marches really make a difference?
Do I think the marches make a difference? I would like to believe so. I would like to believe so. I think we build on what our ancestors. I'd like to think that what our ancestors showed us on how to get free. Some people say, well, I don't believe in marching and I don't believe in protesting. I believe in agitating. And as Malcolm, I believe in agitating.
Right.
I believe in what Malcolm said, by any means necessary to get justice. Sometimes we have to do that. And that means sometimes we have to agitate, aggravate until we get what we need. If that means marching, if it means marching, if it means attending city council meetings, school board meetings, I do all of that. So we have to do whatever it takes to get that change that we need.
I don't think it does anything.
What's that?
Marching.
Well,
because we're still in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I mean, sometimes, it works sometimes, but it doesn't work at the rate it's supposed to.
I think it just stay at that level, it get growlier, and then it's like a couple months later, okay, it's back to normal. I don't think it does much.
Let me ask you this here. If people did not pour out in the streets in the way they did for George Floyd, do you think they would have ever do you think they would have arrested the police that they arrested as quick as they did?
Okay, that right there is true, but I have people that live in Minnesota, and they said since that George Floyd, things have gotten worse out there. They said they said the police they upgraded their killing. They said they even getting worse. They said certain stuff that they just don't put on the news. They said it have gotten so bad since the George Floyd thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, do the marches really do?
Well, let me speak from my own experience, personal experience.
Did you go? You went down there?
No.
Okay.
I went to the Million Man March.
Okay. Okay.
So I went there, but I look at a situation that happened in the Waukegan area, and this was everywhere. The young brother named Marcellus Stinnett. Are you all familiar with that case where his name was Marcellus Stinnett and the young sister in the car named Tafara Williams?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That happened like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, right. But the fact that we turned out in the streets and we applied pressure, here's what, let me put it like this. When we say marching, I always like to think that there's a higher source at work than human beings, than people. And I would like to think that good that we was talking about, when the good in humanity, regardless of what color you are, we come together to challenge the status quo of evil, I would like to think that the unity of good people coming together can push against the evil and the darkness that's trying to be imposed.
Yeah.
So do marching work? Anytime people who come together for the right intentions, for the right purpose, without having a hidden agenda or to turn a situation into a money-making frenzy. If we come together with the right heart in mind, the right intentions, and we're unified as one and moving as one, that force of good can definitely outweigh the evil that's trying to be imposed. So yes, people coming together, whether they're marching in the street or whether they're coming together at a city council meeting or a school board meeting, say, hey, they got to go because they're not doing the right things by our children. There is strength in numbers, because what we have to look at when we're looking at a world that's built on politics, the power is in the people, not the politician. Enough people coming together, they can affect change because they're going to put the pressure on the politician, and politicians don't want to lose that position because they do not want to lose that lucrative money that they're bringing in many cases. Some politicians are there for the right reason, to do the good in the neighborhood. But we as people, in the good of us, we have the ability, one person have the ability to affect change. 200 in the street, or 300 or 1,000 in the street, or in the city council meeting, yes. We can march in the city council meeting and school board meeting, and we can demand change. Frederick Douglass said it best. Power concedes to nothing without a demand.
Okay, see, I hear you, and I feel you, and I promise you, I agree with everything.
Have you ever been to a march? Have you ever marched before?
No, never marched before.
Okay.
I never experienced the march. I do want to experience it, but I never.
Okay.
I never did the march.
If you've ever at some point in your life to be a part of something that you was able to see the fruit of that labor or that protest and see the results of it, that is when you can best make a decision. And because there's a lot of people say they don't believe in it, but when you've been in it, when you've been in it and you've actually lived and marched, and the next day you see a police chief get fired or a police officer get fired, then you can say, that's a change. That's a start. It might not be a big change, but it made a difference for that moment because that police chief is no longer there now. But now, even after that, what many times we do, we march, but we have not put the paperwork in. See, when we bring the noise and we have not filed the paperwork and the lawsuits and the things to that, you see, the marching bring awareness. It brings enlightenment. It says there's a problem, right? But that has to be also coupled with filing the necessary paperwork and lawsuits to bring the change, bring the awareness, okay? Put the pressure on. But also that should be done with doing the hard part and putting the paperwork in. And too often we want to march, but we don't want to put the paperwork in that's going to really bring the change.
So wait, how do you feel about reparation?
Reparation is overdue.
Yeah, I think so too.
Long
Yeah.
overdue.
Yeah. You'll see that there's a piece in the book called Reparations is Overdue.
Okay.
So when many acts, let me see if I can remember that piece. When many acts, the Senate asks us as a people, why should we feel entitled to reparations? And I say, what if I invaded your home the way they invaded our homeland? Now, a lot of people might have a problem. They've invaded our homeland of Africa, then murdered your mother, your mama and daddy. Would an apology be enough for you? Because for us, reparations is overdue. And what if I kidnap your family, then rape your women for a while, then inflicted upon them the pain of bearing a bastard child? Would an apology be enough for you? Because for us, reparations is overdue. And if you have or had one, what if I whipped and brutalized your son in the heat of the noonday sun through the middle of the night, then again at the crack of dawn? And after all of that, put you all together, strip your clothes down, made you lay in the indecent position of face first to the ground, brand and burned on your asses with a red hot poking iron, till the sizzling of your flesh was smelling all around. Would an apology be enough for you? Because for us, reparations is long overdue.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Woo! I can't pop my fingers. Wow.
So yeah. I think, but the question becomes, in what form? How do you put a number on such abuse of 400 years?
Do you think the stimulus package was kind of part of?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That, no, the stimulus package can no way in no form be looked at as a reparation for the wrong, because you know why?
Because everybody got it.
Everybody got it.
Everybody got it.
You know what I'm saying? So
But you know what?
What?
I don't know. I look at so much that's going on in the world. I look at the way now even with the Asians, when they was getting jumped on by different people, with the corona stuff and all that, they have laws and you can't mess with them. But it's nothing fuzz like the civil what you call it, the civil
Civil rights.
civil rights
movement.
was for us. Now it's for everybody. It's like everything that was created for us.
Everybody benefit from it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Why is that?
Well, that's why it's important the work that we do in our community. A lot of time people say, well, blanks. It looked like the black abolition movement for the mind is only working in the best interest of black folks. Well, you have to look. I look at it like this: whenever you look to uplift those who have been put on the bottom and have been on the bottom, everything that's been standing on the top of the bottom, it rises too. So anytime there are laws that are put in place that allow us to, just like some people say, well, they have a problem with what is it that, affirmative action. People have a problem with affirmative action. These are laws and things that were put in place for, where black folks was put at a disproportionate than the whites, you know what I'm saying, to give them a little edge. But let's go back to the term you're talking about, welfare, right? Now, if you look at it, a lot of people would think welfare, most people think when you look at the face of it, they usually put a black woman on welfare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think it's the black woman always on
Right,
welfare,
right,
but
right.
there are more white women
Yep.
in families that benefit from welfare that was put in place. So anything, the laws that are put into place for us, when black abolition fight for the liberation of black people, ultimately, we're fighting for the liberation of humanity. And that's a fact. We begin with those that's been damaged the most.
Yeah.
Because those that's been damaged and affected the most, you affect change for them. You affect change for humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's something else that just came to mind. It's like with police brutality, there are actually more whites that have been killed by police than blacks, but you don't hear that on the news.
But
too
so they
often.
say. You can put anything on Google.
I would beg. Wait. Who said that?
Google.
Actually, I actually looked it up on. I actually looked it up on Wikipedia.
Oh man, Wikipedia is the source.
One of them.
You gotta consider the source,
Because
bro.
I'm looking
Right.
like, wait a minute,
Right.
huh? But,
You always gotta consider the source.
But either way, you don't, even if it was someone that did get, if it was someone white that got killed by police, you don't really hear that as fast as you hear about one of us getting killed by police.
I tell you what, I'll put it like this: if that white person that got killed by the police was killed by a black police, you hear about
Oh,
it.
hear
most
about it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Almost, I agree with you on that.
You
one.
hear about it
Oh,
really quick.
yeah, I agree with you on that.
But
one.
mostly, one of the reasons why you hear about it so much with black folks, because the fact and the reality of it is black folks that are being killed and murdered by the police at a higher alarming rate than any other people in humanity.
Yeah.
In America, that's a fact.
That's a fact. Wow. Wow. So what do you think the solution? Like, what do you
Look
think was
within.
the solution?
Look within.
Look
We
within.
gotta. We have to challenge ourselves and challenge the government to look within itself and to say, hey,
But you got so
people
many
entitled to
people
reparations.
afraid. They're afraid to challenge the government.
What's that?
A lot of people are afraid to challenge the government.
People are afraid to challenge the government.
Oh yeah.
How about that? You know what? If people are afraid to challenge the government, their fears are much bigger than the fear of the government. It's something within themselves that they haven't been able to master and overcome. Fear is not something that comes from an outside entity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Fear to do something, whether it's to challenge the government, whether it's the fear to do public speaking or to step out and be your very best, that kind of fear comes within. If people are afraid to challenge the government, they have to look within themselves to see what is it that keeps them from moving forward. We have to challenge our fears to overcome those fears, whether it's a fear of public speaking, fear in the, if we live constantly in fear, then that change will take even longer to come. Because when people are afraid, that's what they do. They wait for someone to rescue them instead of having the courage to contribute to rescuing themselves.
Wow. Wow. So what you
Yeah.
feel about that? I don't even want to
Well,
say something. You
well,
look
the
like.
only thing I was gonna say is, fear is there's an acronym. It says fear is basically false evidence appearing real.
But you know what? Let me say something. It's not. It's a human nature that there are some things. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that will make us afraid, without a doubt, because that's a human emotion. So we're spirit and flesh.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not that things won't make you afraid. The question is, what do you do with that fear? Do you shrink, or do you rise to the occasion and challenge that fear, that government, to speak truth to power? There's some things that if someone's trying to break in your house or do harm to you and your family, in the instant of that moment, fear will come over you. Like, oh, who at the door? Somebody's coming in. But in that same moment, if you rise to the occasion, then you're going to meet that fear to get it out that door and off your family.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
true.
yeah, fear will come. What do we do with it? Government got big guns. They got big guns. They got big police.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
So, but at some point, you become resolved and say, what are you willing to stand or die for?
That's powerful. That's powerful.
It becomes in your human spirit. What am I willing to live or die for?
Wow.
When you ask yourself that question, then
Wow.
you're more prepared to move forward and challenge your fear. And
Wow.
stand on that, because you find out when you ask yourself that, if we say we got faith, and we say we believe in God and we know there is a God greater than the circumstances that are imposed against
That's
us,
true, yeah.
then we're going to go forward with faith and not shrink to fear.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We have to build ourselves back up, because it's like I look at so many, young people. They acting like they're, I don't know what word I could use for them. Man,
Loss in some
Yeah.
cases.
the
in
lost
some-
generation. Yeah.
Yeah. But it takes all of us to get things back on track. You know what I mean?
The things that are willing to do that. Some people not willing. Some people not willing.
You know what? I used to, and just based on what you said, a lot of times in our organization, we would go out and challenge issues, and we would think the numbers, the issue that we are challenging, whether it's the school district that's suspending and expelling black children at an alarming rate, we say, okay, we going down here to the school board meeting, and we're going to say enough of that. You're not kicking no more of our black babies out of the school. And we'll beat the drums, and we'll say, hey, I know the parents going to be interested in getting involved in this. You would think, right?
You would think, yeah.
You would think. But as you just said, what have gave me confidence, the fact I've accepted, and I don't frown down on people who don't come out anymore, who don't get involved, or who may have a fear of losing their job or losing their status or whatever the case. So I don't frown down, because people have their own personal reasons why they might not be able to come or don't want to come. So what I've learned to do
I think
is,
it's laziness.
oh, okay, well that too. But what I've learned to do, not look down on them for that.
Yeah.
What I started doing, I started thinking my Most High. I started thanking the Most High and the ancestors for giving me the courage, the strength, and the ability to speak for those who are voiceless or afraid. So I just keep moving forward in fear, and I take that stand. And as the church say sometime, whosoever will, let them come.
Yeah,
If they don't, I'm going to still take my stand, because someone at this particular point in my life, being clean, I'm in a good sign of health right now. I was able to open the business up, so I truly feel blessed. So
That's
to
a
whom much is
blessing.
given, much is required. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I stand on that.
Yes.
I stand on that every day.
Yes. And I thank you for your positive energy as well. Like, sometimes I can be a little negative other times, but I thank you for your positivity, because
You being
sometimes,
negative, you don't show it every time I do it.
No, I'm not saying sometimes some parents can be lazy.
Right,
And he came
right.
back with that, like, he don't look at just that. He look at another part to it. You know, sometimes I can be like, well, blah blah blah, you know, and I'm working on myself.
Yeah,
you know,
well, we all are work in progress.
Yeah.
I'm still working on me too. We are forever work in progress.
Yeah.
And it's that work, that being that work in progress is why I do the work that I do, because I know we'll damage people. So when people don't come out with us in protest, I don't get mad at them.
Right.
I say to myself, wow, you know, look at the damage that's been done to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can be empathetic towards those, even if I'm going to fight, even if we're going to fight for a parent's child, and we know this kid is about to be getting ready to be put out of school for whatever reason, and we try to get the parents involved, but their parents just won't come. I don't be mad at their parents. We still go and we fight to keep that kid in school. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. You know, because one person we have the ability to.
It takes a village.
No doubt.
So.
And we go fight for that kid, and we say, hey, we call their parent and say, hey, your baby's still in school. Let us know if you need anything else or any help.
Wow. See, I love stuff like that. I love it. I love it.
Because my blessings keep flowing with it. My blessings keep flowing whether that parent come out or not. I've done my job, because what I'm doing it for the one that continue to give me breath, good health, good energy. So my blessings still flowing, because I did a good thing for that child for whatever reason that parents might have had a fear of not challenging the system.
Yes.
You know.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
How old would you say? Take a guess.
You look young. So I say 50.
Oh, I like you. Huh?
How old are you?
I turned 60.
Wow.
November the 18th.
Wow.
Is my birthday.
That's a blessing.
That's why I keep doing the work I do.
That's a blessing.
You know, I work with the kids, so I work with the youth, and in exchange, you know what I like to think? I like to think that working with the youth, I share with them my wisdom and knowledge, and I rub shoulders with them, and they share with me their youth and energy.
Oh, they said black don't crack. Perfect example right here. Perfect example. Black don't crack.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. But it's all between the ears. If we don't allow ourselves to become stressful from the ways and the things of the world.
How could you conquer that? Like, how could you not be in a stressful situation, even if you are in a stressful situation?
Many brothers who go to the prison set themselves free inside the walls, regardless of the fact that they are locked down.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah,
and able to come through it alive in the midst of the chaos, the violence, and the murder that's going around them. You say, how do I conquer that?
Have you, for a person that don't know how to conquer that, how do they conquer not being stressful in a stressful situation?
It comes with time. It comes with not wanting everything you see, and knowing what it takes to take comfort in what you've been blessed with and making the most of that.
Yeah.
See, too often we get caught up in our loyal nature and desires and wanting this and wanting that, and when it seems like we're not getting it fast enough and we're not reaching it fast enough, now we become stressed, depressed, and for those who have many cases, for many people who have always lived off the silver spoon, man, when they ain't got nothing or they lose something, they're ready to find the tallest building in the jump. But to answer your question is, we have to learn to be thankful and work with what we got, opposed to, that's for me, that's what worked for me.
Right.
And coming from my humble beginnings, as I said, I don't have to have a whole lot of stuff. When you've overcome things in your life that has given you, my life is my trophy. Everything else is extra. To be able to overcome some of the challenges that I've overcome and to be given the blessing. I often tell people my daughters were sent as divine instruments to save my life. Because the things that I was doing out in the streets that I wasn't willing to change for myself, I could not see myself. Hard time is when you're doing hard time, when you're doing hard time, what I consider as prison time, is when you locked up and your children are left out here, and somebody coming and telling you, hey, you know they got your girl, your daughter out there on this. That's hard time.
That's hard times.
That for me, I had to make that change. The last raid on my house was the raid to end all raids. My two daughters was there. When the cops kicked in the door, At that time, it was the best thing that could have happened for me because it gave me time to sit down. And when I was locked up, I was at a crossroad in my life because the judge had told me the next time he see me, I'm out of here.
Wow.
So my two daughters at that time, I'm looking at the fact I'm not going to go and put myself in a position where they kick my doors in again, where they take my babies away from me, or me be taken away from them, and they left out here in this crazy cold world.
Wow.
Men make a difference in the lives of their daughters.
Yes.
Don't matter. I mean, in their children. I mean, in their children's lives too. But most definitely their daughters. And too often, young ladies find themselves looking for love in all the wrong places that they did not get from dads and the men that should have been there in their lives. So I made that decision to be there for my daughters. I changed flip the script. I remember I was doing a book tour with Chuck D and Kumo D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Chuck D had told me, he says, Chuck had told me, hey man, you know, we was doing this book tour from St. Louis to New York. And he told me, he said, man, when you get back home, send me a link, stay in touch. And I started to do that, but at that time, I was almost thinking that would really give me an opportunity, but I wasn't ready to get on the road to lead my daughters.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That was my priority.
Wow.
You know.
Wow, that's a blessing. That is such a blessing. So I want you guys, if y'all could see us go and what can they purchase your book?
You can only get that book and this T-shirt
From you.
from Black Abolition Movement for the Mind only.
It's on.
The video.
Oh, the video. Yeah, and you can go check out the video. Say can you? Yeah, you can get it. You can check it out on download it on Spotify and all various streaming platforms. That book and that track is our fundraising tracks that we're 501c3.
Okay.
But most of our funds we raise is grassroots fundraising as a 501c3. I got our 501c3 not looking to depend on government funding. I got a 501c3 that if fellow artists and athletes have made it and they believe in the work that we're doing, they could contribute, and they can contribute, be a write-off for them, and help us at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's 77. So anybody like to help us out, you can call 773-510-1713. That's the Star Spangled Banner book. And the video, like I said, on most streaming platforms, say can you, and that is a fundraising track also that help us continue to do the work that we're doing in our community.
Yes, and also go to his YouTube channel. Go to his YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah.
And don't forget to share. And let them know what it can find this book at again.
Call this is Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. You can call the number 773-510-1713 or broblanks3@gmail.com. broblanks3@gmail.com. And that help us to continue to fight the good fight.
Yes, he's making a difference, y'all. So let's come out here and let's support our brother. He's out here making a difference. He's out here fighting.
Yeah.
Fighting for our rights, y'all. So let's support. Let's support.
Because to support me is to support you too. Because
yes.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, as Martin say. So I like to think the fight that we're fighting in this corner ultimately affect change and a rippling effect in other places.
Yes.
And I was just gonna say that for those that are watching live that didn't catch it, you can actually see the information in the comments section.
And you just put it in. Okay.
Yeah.
See, Ralph be on it. So don't forget, y'all, to share this video. Also, let's support our brother, y'all. Let's support his book. Let's support his YouTube channel. Let's hit them subscribe buttons. Hit that thumbs up.
What's your YouTube channel?
What's that?
It's Brother Blank.
You want to go to, if you want to look up that song, you mean, you go to Say Can You, and then Brother Blanks, like she said, BROTHA.
Yeah.
Brother Blanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go out and support. You don't find so many brothers out here, y'all, that's fighting for us. You may have a handful, but
they there. They just so far and in between. It's hard to see them. Somebody told me when they said, "Are you a leader?" I said, "No, I don't never consider and call myself a leader or taking the lead on things." But as you said earlier, sometimes when an issue happens, it's just so many people fall back that it leaves somebody standing up front to say, "I'm not stepping back."
Yeah.
We have to step to it.
Yeah. 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just became his newest subscriber.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
you
what I'm
too. And then there's also you can go to the website, which is www.bamforthemind.com. That's www.bamforthemind.com.
Bam for the man.
No, .org, because it's an organization.
Say it one more time.
www.bam, B-A-M, the number 4, themind.org. You can go there and subscribe, and all of those things contribute to helping us out and do the work that we do as a not-for-profit grassroots organization that have not received state or federal grants. Not saying that we won't accept state or federal grant, but we would like to take that as the frosting on the cake that we already baked. That means our doors don't close, or our doors don't open or close, whether Ronald or Biden decide to cut a check or not. We keep it moving.
Keep it moving, baby.
Yeah.
So tell us what we can find in this outfit. I'm just really digging this outfit.
Oh,
I love it.
Oh, you liking that, huh?
I'm
Well,
digging it.
as I said, I think I moved the camera. Yeah, okay. Well, the outfit that you're looking at is this compliment and courtesy of my queen.
Wow.
She made it for me, my wife, as I call her, Queen Josephine.
Yes,
This is some of the work that we also do and that she do to raise funds. She makes outfits like this. I'm blessed to be able to get the fruit of the work in the fashion design work she did. Yeah, she hooked the brother up, didn't she?
Yeah, she hooked you all the way up. You got the head to go with it
and the peacoat.
jacket.
Yeah,
that's sharp.
and this is after this is a mud cloth. So.
Wow, wow. So y'all, let's come out and support them.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So they can, if they want to get, some clothes,
80.
They can go to your website, or
you can go to the website. You can call that number 773-510-1713. All of these things make up and help us to do the work that we do. You can purchase some of the fashion design, the book, the T-shirts. 773-510-1713, and definitely that Say Can You on most streaming platforms.
Yes, and all in one.
Yeah.
Yes, and for those, the link that you can go on to subscribe to his channel is also in the comment section. So subscribe and make sure that bell notification is raised so you can get all of his upcoming content.
Yeah.
Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. So I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate having this opportunity to come down and just share. See this right here. This, believe it or not, this is change.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We all have something to offer.
Yes.
When we sit down, we communicate, we use our platforms to open ideas up to other people and to inspire them. You affecting change.
Yes.
We all do it. When you give your best of you, you affecting change in one way or the other.
And be sincere about it.
And there it is.
Yes. Be sincere about it.
We gotta be true to what we do.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna get people attention when they like, man, I've been through that. He helped me get out of this. So I truly appreciate
it. So that's why whether you rap, whatever you're doing, rapping, you never get too old. Yeah. You never get to the age to do whatever gifts and talents you've been given to make it happen for yourself. Yeah. I'm looking at Snoop Dogg them, right? And Dr. Dre them,
right.
In the halftime show. You look at them brothers, man. I mean, look how good Dr. Dre look, right?
I was like,
so that's what I'm saying. You got a talent, you got an art, man. Don't never let nobody make you feel you out of season, you out of date. You do what the Most High and the ancestors give you, and you move on that. That's what keeps you young and going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Right. Yes. So I thank you guys for coming in today. Y'all, I want y'all to go and let's support our brother. Y'all, let's go and get some books. Let's go to his YouTube channel. That's Brother Blank. Let's go to his channel, hit them thumbs up. Let's subscribe to his channel. Also, if y'all want some clothes,
yep.
Hit his queen up.
Right.
If y'all want a T-shirt, hey, hit them up, y'all. He got the hat and he got the jacket to go with it.
Kufi.
Kufi?
It's called a kufi.
Oh, cool.
K-U-F-I, or crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, not say fly. Fly.
Yes.
So let's support. Let's support.
We always say, read, write, recite, and never give up the good fight.
Yes.
Bam.
Love it.
Yes.
Like they say, if you want to take information from a person, put it in the book. If a black person, if you want to hide information from a black person, put it in a book. Guess what? We are knowledgeable now.
I changed that. I
You
wrote
changed
more.
that?
Yeah. You know, those are the things. Those are those negative. You know, those are the
Right,
things that they
right,
put out
right.
there. Well, you know, you want to hide something from a black
Put in
man.
the book.
Put it in a book. Well, here's a black man that wrote one.
Here go a book right here, so
And
go on and get it.
Yeah, get it. Support it.
And you know what? The crazy part, my daughter, she loves reading books. She loves writing.
Good.
She loves reading books. Matter of fact, it's actually started because she's 15
I
now.
was about to house. She's 15.
Yeah, she's 15. It started when she started learning how to read. Actually, we were like 5 or 6 years old.
You like reading?
I like reading.
Okay, because sometimes
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
like they do what they see their parents do.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
That's
So
Yeah, me and her, we got a great bond.
yeah.
That's good. That's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yep, so, yep, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming out. Oh, my God. I can't wait to read the book. I'm going to most definitely
And that
put this up there.
now, so you see that book when you look on the front of it. It's not politically or grammatically correct. What I mean by that is that book is self-published, so we didn't go to no publisher. That was a
Wow.
project that I did between me and my daughters, from the cover, from the front to the back cover.
Wow.
That is a self-publishing book. That's why you
Wow.
can only find it at Black Abolition Movement for the Mind, because we're retaining all our royalties and rights.
Wow, that is powerful.
Yeah,
That's what
that's what we
power
do.
to the
Yes.
people. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thank you guys for tuning in.
I do likewise.
Yeah. So if y'all wanna get the information, here go the card. Here you go, right here. If y'all want it, hey, go and I'm telling y'all, hook this brother up because he deserves it. He out there fighting for us, y'all. We won't have too many people fighting for us, but he out there fighting for us. And especially, he's being real. Some people be phony about it. You know what I'm
You
saying?
gotta be true.
You got some phony people that's
Mhm.
in the front,
Yes.
in the forefront. But he out here being real about
Yes.
everything that he's doing, and he's not backed up by no government. He's doing his own thing. So go out there and support him. And something I want to say?
Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna say, just remember, everything is listed in the comments. The number, the email, the website, his YouTube channel. Do y'all thing, help this brother out. Subscribe, send us the thumbs up.
Yes.
Go to his website. Call, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. Just support.
Yes, that's what it's all about. We got Thomas in the background. He back there chilling. He like, hey. So I appreciate you guys. I really do. Thank
And my
you.
last words,
Okay.
my last word I like to say to everybody is what I open up with. Regardless of what's being imposed on you from the world, each and every one of you, look within to win, because for every problem you have, you also have the solution.
Wow. And I'm gonna keep that phrase.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look within to win.
Man,
That's what I'm
Yes.
gonna do.
you got the
Same
book,
here.
so every time you look in
Yeah.
them, it'll remind you, look
Yeah.
within to win.
Look
You
within to
got it.
win. Your testimony is right up in this book.
For sure.
Wow.
Thank you as
That's
well.
a blessing. Thank you. No problem. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely we thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No problem. No
Yeah.
problem. So y'all, this your girl Sadie Star, y'all.
Yes, Ralph, we are
Yes.
out of here.
We out of here with Brother Blank, and that's his real name, y'all.
Hey,
his
we
real name.
keeping it real. That's my real name. That's my stage name, you know?
Realness. That's what I'm talking about. Brother Blank.
Yeah.
So man, that's what's up. I love it. I love it. So this your girl Sadie Star.
Yes, this is your boy Ralph.
And Brother Blanks.
Yeah, so we up out of here. Oh, we
Yeah.
got Thomas in the background. Woo, woo. Y'all, we up out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We up out of here, y'all.
Everything Dope. You can also see my video on Everything Dope.
Everything
That's a
dope.
page, yeah. You can see the video on there too.
That's on YouTube as well.
No, that's my brother's page. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything Dope. You see the video there.
Video
but
got
it's-
700,000.
Yeah,
Almost
yeah, that video got
Ooh.
700,000.
That's on Facebook.
Yeah, everything dope.
Everything
It's on my,
Dope?
and then on my page, Chris Blanks.
Okay.
That's yeah. So
That's
you get
on
off.
Facebook.
Yeah, that's my Facebook page is Chris Blanks, and I also have my artist page under Brother Blank. So between those two pages, you can get a lot of information about what we've done as well as what we aspiring to do
Oh,
and doing some
wow.
good in the hood.
Wow. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, y'all, we about to go and take up some pictures, y'all. But I thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys, and we'll be back for more.
Man, I almost hate to end this session. This
I
been
know,
this
right?
been on. Yeah.
Yes, I want y'all also to tune in too. Next week we got John Blue coming in. So yes, you want to be up here Tuesday? I think
Yeah,
Tony-
I might come through. Yeah.
Okay, John Blue
Okay,
coming
too,
through,
so
y'all.
I'm
So
here for that one.
yeah, some more people coming in Monday as well. I got to look at the paper with his name. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hey,
Thank
Sister
you.
Ann, thank you too. I'm sorry about that cups to the cups and the water. I
Oh,
want you to
man,
have
come on,
Kool-Aid,
man. No, we
you
don't
know.
even sweat
The
that. You
Kool-Aid
know?
was good too, you know.
Red Kool-Aid.
I know, right? You like, I ain't about to walk around with no red.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's all love.
Yes, it's all love. So thank you guys. See you guys later. Peace
All right,
out.
All right.
Okay, take us some quick pics.
You still on here?
Okay, still on right there. Hey, Amina Dina.